Nostradamus, the man who wrote about our collapse 500 years ago. A candle flickers in a dark stone room. An ancient book opens slowly. Ink, faded but still sharp. Outside, thunder rolls over a modern skyline filled with glowing skyscrapers and flashing news screens. Wars, economic instability, climate disasters, technological acceleration, and every time the world feels unstable, one name resurfaces: Nostradamus. Welcome to Crazy World Facts, the channel where reality is more unsettling than fiction, and every story makes you question the world you think you understand. In 1555, a French physician published a collection of cryptic verses. No dates, no clear names, no direct explanations, just 942 quatrains. And somehow, centuries later, people still claim he predicted our world. The question isn't whether he wrote them. The question is why they still feel relevant. A world on the brink, then and now. Michel de Nostradamus lived in a time of chaos. Europe was ravaged by the plague, religious wars, political instability, famine, social unrest. It wasn't so different from today. Crisis creates uncertainty. Uncertainty creates fear, and fear creates a need for meaning. Nostradamus wrote in code, mixing French, Latin, Greek, and symbolic language. He claimed he saw visions, but he deliberately avoided clarity, because clarity could be dangerous. One of his most famous quatrains describes, "The young lion will overcome the older one. In a golden cage he will pierce his eye." In 1559, King Henry II of France died after a lance pierced his golden visor during a tournament. The match seemed perfect. But here's the detail most people ignore. The interpretation happened after the event. The verse never mentions Henry, never mentions a date, never mentions France. It fits because it's broad enough to fit, and that pattern repeats. Some claim Nostradamus predicted the French Revolution. Others say he foresaw the rise of Napoleon. Some even link a verse mentioning Hister to Hitler. But Hister was also the Latin name for the Danube River. The text is elastic, and elasticity is powerful, because history is violent, and violence always finds echoes in ambiguous language. During World War II, both Allied and Nazi propaganda used Nostradamus to support their narratives. Fake interpretations circulated. Selective translations spread. Why? Because prophecy influences morale. When people believe history is destined, they behave differently. That's not mysticism, that's psychology. After September 11th, Nostradamus trended worldwide. After the 2008 financial crash, again. During COVID, again. Every major global crisis triggers the same cycle. Someone opens the book, someone finds a verse, someone declares, "He predicted this." Most of those claims collapse under scrutiny, but the emotional impact remains, because uncertainty demands explanation. The predictions people are talking about now, modern interpreters claim Nostradamus warned about a major global conflict, financial collapse, climate devastation, technological domination, a shift in world power. If you read his quatrains literally, they are vague. If you read them symbolically, they can describe almost any era, which raises an uncomfortable possibility. Maybe Nostradamus didn't predict events. Maybe he predicted human nature. Why his words still work? Nostradamus understood something fundamental. Human history is cyclical. Empires rise and fall. Leaders become tyrants. Economic bubbles burst. Diseases spread. Wars erupt. If you write 942 symbolic warnings about instability, some will always seem accurate, not because you saw the future, but because instability is inevitable. There's a cognitive bias called hindsight bias. After something happens, we believe it was predictable. Prophecies exploit that bias. They don't need precision, they need ambiguity. And Nostradamus mastered ambiguity. That doesn't make him a fraud. It makes him strategically brilliant. Here's where it gets serious. If people believe catastrophe is destined, they may act differently. Markets react to fear. Governments react to pressure. Movements react to perceived inevitability. Belief can create reality, and that's the part nobody talks about. Nostradamus' greatest power may not be prediction. It may be influence. Every few years, headlines claim Nostradamus predicted this year's disaster. Some link his writings to modern geopolitical tensions. Others connect them to climate tipping points. others to AI and technological control. But here's the truth. His verses are open frameworks. They don't expire. They adapt. And as long as humanity faces crises, they will continue to come true. Maybe the prophecy isn't about specific events. Maybe it's about patterns. Patterns of power. Patterns of collapse. Patterns of conflict. If you study enough history, you don't need psychic visions. You need observation. And Nostradamus was a careful observer of human instability. Imagine holding a book written almost 500 years ago, reading a passage, and feeling like it describes today. Is that destiny? Or is it proof that human nature hasn't changed? Nostradamus may not have seen the future, but he understood something timeless. As long as fear exists, there will always be someone ready to believe the end is near. If this mystery left you thinking, leave a comment and tell me. Do you believe Nostradamus truly predicted world events, or are we projecting our fears onto his words? Subscribe to Crazy World Facts, because there are still many uncomfortable truths left to uncover.